So today we're going to talk about your past and how that affects your present and your future. So some of the things that contribute to our self-image are things that happened like long time ago, and we're still holding on to those things, and they're shaping what we do and how we act now. There's things that are deeply rooted in our past relationships and experiences that continue to affect us negatively now. They hinder our ability to know and to remember who we really are. Because if you're holding on to something that happened a long time ago, you're not being true to yourself, you're not being your real self, because whatever that issue is, it's affecting every decision that you're making. If you're holding on to that and you haven't dealt with it properly. It can affect our efforts to give ourselves fully to people in our new relationships. That these are people that God has put it in our lives for a reason, but we're in effect of another term, throwing mud on what He's trying to clean up for us. Your past does not define you. It may impact you, but it doesn't dictate your present or your future. And in this chapter, the author uses the story of Jephthah from Judges to demonstrate a lot of these points about dealing with your past. Jephthah, because it's spelled Jepthaa, Jephthaa. His mother was a prostitute. His father was Gilead, but Gilead was already married, and he eventually had sons as well. So Jephthah was the product of he was a bastard, and he was product of an out of wedlock union, I guess. And probably because his mother was a prostitute, she was not Hebrew, which made him also another point that another issue that he had with his brothers who were full Hebrew. He was just not ethnically like the rest of the family. So he was banished without an inheritance for something that wasn't even his control, just because of his how he got here. He was banished. So like I said, some of the problems that we face have nothing to do with us. We didn't have any control over it. You may remind somebody of someone that did them wrong 25 years ago, and they looking at you and holding that against you, and you have no idea what's going on, which is kind of what this issue is with Jeff. Well, he knows what the issue is, but you know what I mean. There may be cultural or socioeconomic gaps between you and another person. That's another pinpoint on why someone looks at you differently. You may carry the weight of someone else's fears that are based not on anything you did, but based on the connection, your connection to someone else. Like I said, you may remind somebody of someone that that they had a bad relationship with, and that's affecting how they look at you. So what do? So Jephthah's family never accepted him. They never approved of him. No one around him tried to understand him. He didn't have any support where he was. So he never dealt with that. He never dealt with the issue of that hurt. He was just kept holding on to the pain. He desired for his brothers to accept him, but they never did. And he just kept holding on to that. And he was just trapped in the past. So if we have a conscious or unconscious refusal to deal with past or hurts from the past, they set up a person for failure in the future. Because if you just think about it, like I keep saying, if you hold on to stuff in the back of your mind, every decision you make is going to have some kind of I can't find the right word, but every decision you make will depend, or not depend, but that's the wrong word, but I can't think of the right word. Let's see.
Maybe it could like reflect what decisions you.
Thank you. That'll work.
Okay.
That'll work. Yeah. Okay. So we need to know ourselves. We need to know these things about ourselves. If we're making these kind of decisions, we need to review what we've done in the past, or take a hard look at our lives, at our things that affect us, things that have happened to us that we may not even know that we're holding on to this, but all of a sudden something will click, and you may go off on somebody and don't know what you're going off on them for. So yeah, so it's these, like in the beginning, there were questions that Elder had mentioned. We really need to look at those questions and really take a hard look at ourselves, and answer those questions for ourselves. You can seek help if you need therapy for something that you just can't deal with on your own. There's no shame in going and seeking a therapist, talking to your pastor, talking to a friend, anything that you feel comfortable with that was going to help you deal with the issue, whatever it is that you're holding on to, that you need to just get rid of. God has a plan for you if you choose to leave your past in the past, and leave that pain behind you. What was, how did Pastor used to say, don't bring Egypt with you, or something like that? Okay. So Jephthah fled. He fled and moved to Tob, which is T-O-B. So Tob was this area that was like, it was full of roughnecks and criminals and hoodlums. It was a bad place to go. But he prospered there. He got married. He developed friendships with people, and they became his support system. But he still struggled to embrace the good things that came to him in life because he was bound to his past. He kept thinking like, he still wanted his acceptance from his family, his brothers, but he did not have that. But he had the acceptance of the people that he had in his life right then, his wife, his friends. But like I said, he still longed for his brothers, because you're right, like I said, right. He was blessed, but he couldn't see it because he kept looking for, the blessing didn't come the way he wanted it. He couldn't settle into his good because of these unhealed wounds that he thought could only be healed in the environment in which they were inflicted. So he thought he could be healed by just, if his brothers would just, apologize, or he was just thinking about in the past instead of holding on to what he had, the good stuff that he had where he was. He was a leader, a military leader, I believe. So
Can I quickly
yes,
say something?
please.
But I can't help but think about like the LGBT community and how much harm has been done to like by like members of the family, siblings, parents, and even when they go out and they get a surrogate family, people who have embraced them and accepted them, they still have that wound and don't know how to heal that wound unless their parents heal it or their
Yes.
siblings. And it's
Yep.
like, but you're holding yourself hostage
Yes.
to what somebody else may or may not ever do. So yeah, that just
Exactly.
like really what you were talking about really like
Yep.
parallel
That's
that.
exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
But you know, something like that, it's difficult because, you know, when you think about it, you know, your parents, I mean, you love them. You know, these are people that you love. This is family. And, you know, when you're born into a family, you just automatically know that your family loves you. That just, to you, that just kind of comes automatic. But when it doesn't come automatic like it's supposed to, right? And then you start thinking something is wrong with you. You start to think it's something wrong with me because if my family doesn't love me. And then when you finally get to, you know, like the LGBT community, you know, you finally get to a place where you can accept yourself, you know, who you are. I know this is who I am, but your family still has not accepted that. That's still tearing you up because that's your mother. That's your father. These are your siblings. You know, so even if you've got another group over here who's showing you love, this one over here, this is your blood. I have to have, that's something that I have to have. You know, so it's really hard to let go of that. I don't know. You'd have to really, I don't know. I don't know if could a psychiatrist help you with something like that. You know, help you let go. That could, maybe you could be hypnotized or something. I don't know how you can
I
let
deal
go
with
of
that.
that.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
deal with that all the time in mentoring and counseling with people, not just in the LGBT community, but also just people in general, of how, it's difficult for people to let go of yearning for that love and acceptance that you want from the family member and the loved one. And yes, you may have a surrogate family or surrogate friends or whatnot, and it's really difficult. Like I get that from the LGBT perspective. For the most part, like Pastor and I really talk about that all the time with other people. Is that I'm grateful that I didn't have to necessarily experience that. Like the people that were closest to me, I didn't have to deal with that. But I do have family members and I know friends who have dealt with personal rejection for other reasons, whether it be because they're in a multiracial relationship, or or they had, or you were the one that had all the kids out of wedlock, whatever the case, and they're hurt because of lack of acceptance from a number of different things. And I think we have to be careful, to say to people, and I kind of sympathize with Mother Trotter saying, like, that's a really difficult thing to get past and get through. But the best that I think a lot of us can do is offer the support that's there, like whatever we can do to be supportive. I do think that therapy is one of those things that you really need to kind of look through. But at the same time, I'm also pushing people to be grateful for the family substitute that is in place for you, or because some people don't have anything at all, like they're just out there wandering alone. But to recognize that you may never get the acceptance from the biological or the people that are closest to you or whatever. You may never get that, but if you can come to a place of forgiveness of the individual, the forgiveness will allow you to deal with the fact that you may not ever get the thing. But yeah, my heart goes out to people who have to deal with that, and that's one of the things that I struggle with, in trying to minister to people, is how do you tell somebody, well, baby, you're just gonna have to let your mama go. Wow, you know,
Yeah.
if anybody,
Yeah.
but I'm right now mentoring and counseling with 3 people. And one of them, guess what? One of them is 54 years old,
Mhm.
who is dealing with the rejection of parents, a father
Right.
who's deceased, a mother who's still alive, but who just does not accept him. And I'm like, he's 54. In the back of my head, I want to go find this lady and just shake her. I'm like, are you serious? But but it's, people are dealing with that. And I know that it's a hard thing to do, but you quietly try to be like, maybe you got to let them people go. So let them be who they're gonna be and
You
forgive
know,
them.
there's a scripture, I might be taking it out of context, so pastor slap me on the hand if I am. But it's a scripture that says something to the effect of like I'm really just paraphrasing. You know, um, if you're not married, don't seek to get married. Um, if you're in whatever status that you're in, don't seek to get something to the effect of. I think that it all kind of boiled down to be thankful for what you have. So, focus on the blessings that you have, in your life, and be thankful for that, and live through those blessings. Because if you continue to focus on the things that tear you down, that's heavier on you, that will keep you down. And it'll be like you won't be able to move forward. You'll just be stunted, right where you are. But sorry, I can't even quote that scripture or even tell you where it is, but it's something to that effect of, being thankful for what you have.
Well, the word says sometimes you have to shake the dust off your feet and go on.
Mm,
And that's hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's hard to let go. But
yeah.
sometimes you have to, in order to protect you.
Right. Right. Okay. Good points.
And I just, if I can add a little bit something, I take it a step further. Sometimes you're in a situation where, you know, you're part of a church, or are you in a home where, you know, being a certain way is condemned, and you are, I guess, almost, you felt like you're obligated to do what's right according to them, according to what they're saying. So you have to suppress who you are. You have to suppress your same-sex attraction, to other people, other men or women, or whatever. And that's just kind of a double whammy. You're in a situation where you made to feel like you're wrong if you step outside of who you are, or what this norm they consider the norm is, rather. And then and if you do, then of course you feel like you're, I guess, not only hurting them, but also you're sinning against God or whatever. So there's a lot to break away from, and sometimes in getting healed. So you got to break away, first of all, knowing that it's okay to be who you are, and then you got to deal with what they think, and what I'm saying. So it's, I just wanted to add that a little bit.
Okay. Anyone else have any other, I can't even think of the word, comments? Lord have mercy, Jesus. While I look over this page to see where I'm at. Okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
the church does a lot of damage.
Yes.
It has held people back from being what God wants them to be, because they didn't see it. They have said, no, you can't do that. But at the same time, God's saying, this is what I have called you to be. This is what I have, this is what I have called you to do. but you got people that you admire and that you love telling you, no, you can't do that. No, you're not called to that. So what do you do? Who do you listen? I mean,
So I'm looking at this sentence. It says, if we don't trust God to lead us, we will undervalue the places he puts us. So in that situation, if that's what he's told you, God's told you to do something and somebody's going against it, what somebody just said, you said it, dust your feet off and,
Right.
and keep it moving. But yeah, it's not easy at all.
right,
It isn't.
exactly.
It isn't. So we'll think of certain places as bad when in reality they are significant to our destiny. There are things that are a blessing in disguise, and when this is blessing in disguise is referring to like Jephthah went to Toab, which is, like I said, this place was like, it was like for hoodlums and criminals and stuff, but he prospered there. So we should view our circumstances from God's perspective. Instead, we spend our time longing for something in the past that isn't his will for us. Sometimes God causes people or places or others we may regard as lowly to be the ideal environment to strengthen us. Like I said, he put Jephthah in Toab, and so that's where he was supposed to be. So God put him, and he puts us in places to strengthen us and to heal us and to lead us into our destinies and to where he wants us to be. We have to keep our eyes on him and not on our surroundings or circumstances. Because if you start looking out here somewhere, ooh, that look good, and you be over here when you're supposed to be going this way. So we just gotta know where God is wanting us to go and just go that way. We can never go wrong doing that. We have to choose not to continue to grasp for people and places that have repeatedly failed us in the past. We keep going back to, like it's like a dog going back to his throw up and eating it. We just gotta stop.
Thank you for that image, Elder. Thank you.
Sometimes we do. Like, now, you see these girls that go back to these dogs, these men,
Yeah.
like, why? In 2 months you're gonna be, crying.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Okay.
No, but I gotta say this, but you're so right. There are a million examples of that we could think about. Because I was thinking about how LGBT Christians keep staying in these non-affirming churches, and then they call us when their heart is broken and trying to get us to do the work of fixing them, and then they go right back to there again. Like, don't call me no more. Just die in Egypt. So it's just like, because I done got free, I done done the work, and you dragging me back into your malfunction, dysfunction. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There are so many examples of that.
Yeah.
But I think that scenario is that's almost the same as one to be accepted by your family. They just still want to be accepted, and so they keep going back to the places that torment them, and they just stay there because they're still hoping to be accepted.
But you got to fix something inside you first. That's the issue.
Right, but they don't know that, and they don't understand that.
Yeah,
they don't understand that, and then just think about if someone tells them this is what you need to do first. Well, that's so difficult. It's like trying to climb out of a hole that you fell in. It has no grooves in it, and you're trying to get out of it. You keep slipping back down. That's too hard. somebody got to throw you a rope or a lifeline or something, you know, so
Mama
it's,
Trout, you better give us an analogy.
oh, yeah.
Yes. I like that hole in the ground and no grooves thing. That worked out.
Yeah, you keep slipping and sliding back in there. So, I mean, I feel for him. I mean, my heart bleeds for him because that's definitely a hard
Yeah.
thing to.
There's
It's-
always a
oh.
ladder somewhere. You gotta find it.
Grandmother said, Did you all hear her?
Oh, I heard that.
And
Okay.
I agree. I heard
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
You got to be willing to do it, though. I mean, that's where Pastor
Yeah.
made a good point. There's so many people who are like, well, this is, you know, you got to leave it behind and know that God has something better for you. And Elder Marcia said the thing that said, God knows what he wants you to do. Do what he said to do,
Right.
not what everybody else is telling you.
Mhm.
And if it means you got to do something hard, which means pick up your boots and move on, then do that. And it's hard to do, and it's hard to hear when someone tells you to do that. You know, just come on, move on. Leave the path behind you. It's gone. It's done. Move forward. It's hard to hear and it's hard to do.
I think that Marsha, I'm sorry, go ahead, Terrell, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mother Trump, can you repeat what Grandmama said?
She said there's a ladder somewhere. You just have to find it.
All
A
right.
ladder, Ladder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you all ever see that movie, The Burning Bed?
Yes.
Okay, so she kept going back. You know, she had people that were there. She had people that wanted to help her.
Mhm.
But she kept going back. And next thing you know, she ended up burning the man. Everybody was excited about that. But I'm just, you know, like grandmother said, it's a ladder somewhere. You just have to find it. Well, you got to look for it. You know,
Yeah,
you
I
got to
think,
look for the ladder.
I think Elder Marsha hit the hammer on the head when she said, you have to do some work internally.
Right.
The question is, how do I move on? Well, in your current state, you can't. You got to do some internal work to figure out, you know, what do I need to do to be whole so that I can move on?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're giving people advice, girl, just move on, but we're not helping them do the internal work to help them get where they can move on.
Yeah.
Right.
I was muted, Mama. So grandmother said something else, but I had already muted. She said, if you're getting beat up, that's enough what? Work. She said, that's enough work if you're getting beat up. Grandmother don't have too much mercy on people, right?
Oh, Lordy.
Woo! All right.
I'm sure Marsha agrees with that. I mean, Elder Marsha.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I do. But all right, we're gonna move. Okay. And these are other things that we've mentioned these before. You tend to ignore the blessings that God places right in front of us because we're trying to find something that we'll probably never get from the people that have hurt us in our lives.
Yes, we know.
Yeah, you gotta learn to learn to appreciate the people that's in your life now who love you. Trust that God knows what He's doing, and He's working everything out for you. Live and thrive among people that God gives you in the place that God has placed you in.
Wait, I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So you have to live and thrive among the people in the place that God has placed you. So like He placed Jephthah in Toab, and He gave him friends. He gave him, you know, he was a leader, so he prospered there. But he was not appreciative of it. He was still holding on to past hurts and past things. So that's what I mean.
All right, you can stop preaching at me, okay?
Preaching to myself too. This book, I'm telling y'all, this book, it's stepping on some toes. It's taking off clothes. It's freeing. It's you know, banging your head up against the wall. It's a good book. Okay, so in the story of Jephthah, so he's prospering, he living his own life, but in the back of his head, he still wants his brothers and his family to accept him. So there's a famine in Israel. Pastor, is that right? In Israel. And so I think there's a war or something, and they need Jephthah to come in and to come help them, because like I said, he's prospered and he's a leader in the military, a general, whatever. So they come to ask him for help. And he like, are you sure? You sure you want me to come help you? And they like, yes, I forgot how they said it. I don't even have the verses in here. But anyway, they came and they asked him to come, and they kind of buttered him up to get him to go. So he leaves and goes and help his brothers and fights and do the whatever. And so he makes this vow that and they did win, or whatever his objectives was. He accomplished it there. So he made this vow to God that when he got back home, he would offer up the first thing that came out of his house. You know, and I don't know, and Pastor, you have to tell deeper and dive into this, and I probably need to read the story again, but anyway.
His daughter or something.
Yes, it was his daughter, but
Yeah,
I want to know why he was either trying to puff himself up in front of his brothers. I don't know, but anyway, he made this vow that anything that come out of his house, he would sacrifice it. So he gets back home, and the first thing that comes out is his daughter.
Yeah.
So he has to kill his daughter and sacrifice his daughter.
Oh, wow.
Now, if he had just dealt with his brothers, you know, dealt with this hurt, forgiven his brothers, and he wouldn't have felt obligated to even go help them. You know, if he had just, and his daughter would still be living, he wouldn't even have to go. It wouldn't have been incentive to go help his brothers. Because he's thinking in the back of his mind, if I do this, maybe they'll, you know, accept me and we be like kumbaya and stuff. But none of that happened. So, yeah, that's a lesson for you. Leave them back where they was. Leave them. Just, you know, keep it moving. Let's see. Okay, so his brothers never apologized or anything to him. But like I said, because they needed something from him, they made the effort to go to where he was.
Mm-hmm.
And now they could have made the effort a long time ago to where he was to apologize and do all, you know, throw some love on him. But no, it was only when they needed something that they came, that they even considered him as alive. So in his desire to please the wrong people, that's why he did it. He wanted to please them, and that's when he made this vow to God, promising whatever came out of his house, he would offer to God, and it was his daughter.
Elder Marcia.
Yes.
So I you know, I was just thinking when you were talking about how the brothers just came to him just because they needed him for something. It's so sad. This is just really sad. You know, you have people that feel that they truly feel that this is against God that you're this way. So, you know, like back in the day, you know, they truly believe, they'll say, well, a bastard, you know, you just cursed, you know, holding it against it, you know. And so, but but somebody that's just, it's really sad that you love and you really are seeking to be loved by someone who is selfish, self-centered, non-caring, no compassion. And that's what sounds like his brother, the type of people that his brothers were. You know, we don't care about you. We just need something from you right now. You know, and that's it. But all this time he's been seeking to have love from them. And it's that makes it just even worse.
Yeah.
That you're still looking for love from somebody that just don't love you at all.
Right.
I mean, you know, that's just really, yeah.
I promise that I don't see the world in gay and straight, but it's just so many different examples of this. I get that a lot. And just just late last week, somebody sent me a message, and I hadn't talked to this person in probably 2 years. And they said that basically, and all that they've been struggling with and coming to terms, and they finally had come to terms with their orientation and we're in a good place, but their parent, his mother still didn't accept it all. But anyway, their relationship had basically been strained and been bad. But when he got a new job and making more money, then all of a sudden he became a meal ticket for her. Mm-hmm. And now it's all about, you know, I need money for this, I need money for this, and all of a sudden you're back in my life now, but all I am is an ATM machine. But, you know, and so it was, you know, and so he was asking me about, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but he was asking basically about the context of honor thy mother and father, and would God be upset if he cut her out of his life or just had her at arm's length? And I wanted to say, hell no, he wouldn't be upset. But I had to say it pastorally, you know, to tell you that honoring your mother and father does not mean putting yourself in a position to be abused and to be taken advantage of. So, but yeah, people, that happens so much. So, yeah.
Yeah. So when people show you who they are, pay attention. Okay. He knew what kind of people his brothers were, and he just did not listen. So leave that alone. So because he had never dealt with his past hurts from his brother, he still longed for their approval, their acceptance. He ignored, because he hadn't accepted them, he ignored what he learned from them from the years of harsh treatment and went with them. So it's like the past hurt overrides the potential for the good. Okay. So you ignore what happened because you think it's going to be better later down the line, which is another kind of reason why some of these battered women stay with their husband, because they think it'll get better. Let's see, I said that already. Oh, okay. So anytime someone from your past comes back into your life and wants what you have instead of who you are, beware. Take a long look under the hood on that one. Because, you know, do some investigate. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I think that we have that little feeling that comes up there. You know, like if they come, it's like when you said beware. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a beware that rises up in you, but it's you kind of push it back.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right, you push it away, but you have that feeling is there. You know, like when people come and tell you, you know, watch out for this one. You know, did you know that this was, you know, and you have a feeling about those things. You know, I don't think that people are just 100% oblivious to stuff. You know, I think that they have these feelings there are warnings that's coming to you that you are saying you just ignoring and you just pushing away because you don't want to face it and you don't want it to be true. So
Right, and you're right. Yeah. So when you sense that someone wants your resources or your connections, your abilities, what this author says is to put up your defenses, start putting up defenses and require those individuals to demonstrate their intentions before you start fulfilling their wishes or whatever. So there are some questions at the end of this. Oh, I did that already. So I'm going to, this is not the question, but this is kind of a summary of what we went through, and it's just like 6 bullet points. It's like, remember who you are. You can't erase your past. It would always be a part of your personal history, but it does not have to define you. You have to fully embrace the great future God has for you. You must let go of the pain of your past. Suppressing the pain of past relationships can damage your present and sabotage potential relationships in your future. God has great things for you, but at times those blessings may not be obvious. So be on the lookout for the blessings in disguise. When people from your past resurface in your life, take the time to find out what they're interested in, if they're interested in who you are, or only in what you can offer them. And actively believe that God has good things in store for you. So we have some questions. Any comments or anything?
Elder Marcia, I just something came to my mind while you were teaching in regard to something that the bishop had said. You know, I guess he was I saw him online or whatever. But anyways, he made a point of, you know, his mom, I think, was the daughter of a preacher, and she had him out of wedlock. And, you know, the church, I mean, I think just totally rejected and looked down on her and whatever. She was just, you know, she was considered an outcast as a result. But it just so happened that her son grew up to be a bishop.
Wow.
And I wonder, you know, and so I guess he recalls or remembers all of those times that, you know, the church looked down, you know, because when you were a little boy growing up,
right.
Can you imagine, you know, the feeling of being like looked down on and ostracized and your nose turned up, you know, and then now he's a bishop. And, you know, I'm wondering what them people think that look down and turn their nose up and different things like that. You know, it's something that's, I guess, the blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
I heard you say that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna pull out a couple of these questions. So when you think of the phrase, remember who you are, what comes to your mind? Let's see here. So like, as you think about who you are, okay, I'm gonna skip that one. That's a little too deep. I'm gonna send these out to y'all. I'm gonna send them out to y'all. Okay, so have you ever walked away from a potential good relationship because of something you experienced in the past? And how can you keep from doing that again? Everybody was in good relationships all your life? Okay.
We didn't say that. We just said we walk away.
You walk away from it.
I don't think I walked away, but I think I have put up walls to protect myself. I have isolated myself from good people that love me. And I know they love me. But in the back of my head, it's like they can't love me because of the past. But I'm ready to take that wall down. Because I'm gonna need you people. I'm gonna need your support. I'm gonna need your love. With everything going on with Kathy right now, I'm gonna need you. So I've got to take the wall down. I built it, I gotta break it down.
Okay. Anyone else have any?
I was going to
Comments or
say,
add-
not so much walking away, but found myself in a relationship where I was always suspicious.
The spidey sense was coming off, huh?
Well, it was because my parents had just gone through a very horrible divorce, and I was right in kind of in the middle of it, not in the middle of it, but I was the one last child home. And so I saw that deteriorating relationship and what it was doing to me. And so the relationship I was in, he was a good man. Don't get me wrong, he was. But he would do something and I would, that for no reason, there was no reason to be suspicious, but I would be suspicious. Because why are you being nice to me? Because if you're being nice to me, you must have done something wrong or whatever. And he would be like, I didn't do anything, I just brought you, you know. But it was that whole having to work through that what I had just seen and experienced, and then kind of pushing
you
onto him.
Yeah.
And all of his intentions had to have some ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And he
So
said,
you
no,
was-
not really.
Yeah.
but you know, and he was very understanding and would talk through it with me and all of that. But yeah, I was carrying that past with me.
Yeah, that's a good example. All right.
I want to go back to this deep question that you.
Okay, I'm gonna read the whole question. Okay. It says, when you think of the phrase "remember who you are," what comes to your mind? The challenge I want to issue you today is not to define yourself in terms of your past. As you think about who you are, the pain of the past is off limits. So who are you?
I am the redeemed of Jesus Christ.
I knew somebody was going to do that. Why did and it had to be her.
Go stand in the corner.
Okey-dokey.
Go stand in the corner.
I am the redeemed of Jesus Christ.
All right, so I'll get your email addresses from Elder. I guess she has your email addresses, and I'll send out these questions and
That is who I am, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Although I'm not sure that that's where the author was going with that question, but okay, I'm gonna let you have that one.
Either. I think she just kind of was letting that one go. She's, I'm better than y'all.